Today we have another really good episode on KKU Podcast, and we have Dr. Kanun, or I'll call you Ajahn Kanun today.
Sure.
And we have Professor Federico from University of Turin. So before we start, can you tell us about yourself a little bit, please?
Sure. Thank you for the invitation to this program. I am a professor of public economics at the University of Torino in Italy. I previously studied first in Italy, then I moved to the UK. I got a PhD in economics from UCL, University College London. And now I deal with mostly my research is in public policy. And especially of decentralized policy making, so what local governments do. And let me say, since we are talking about beyond borders, that the best part of it, the academic life is good in general. There are many good aspects. But the best part is living without borders. Beyond borders. So I'm in Konkan now.
And also thinking beyond borders too.
And thinking beyond borders.
Yes.
I've been here for the month. I will be in Taiwan next week.
So
for collaborations, and I will go to Vietnam towards the end of the month. So living beyond borders is good. First point is living beyond borders.
We'll talk more about that.
Of course.
Ajahn Kanun, what about you?
Okay, so my name is Thanyamat นะครับอาจารย์ I'm a faculty member at the Faculty of Economics at, of course, KKU. So I've been here about 8 years now, 8 years at the faculty, and teaching classes in international economics, labor economics. I have my PhD from the University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee in economics.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a little bit about me for now.
Cool. So the reason we are here today is we want to encourage students to explore beyond borders, not only physically, but, also in terms of thinking, So it's great to have you both here. I grew up in the UK too, so we have that kind of in common that we have been abroad. So why are you here in Konkan? Konkan, Italy, Turin is,
It's quite far.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
On many dimensions.
Yep.
Well, the profound and fundamental reason is that I was born on the 26th of June. So I have a special attachment to Thailand.
How's that? I don't even know. Sorry.
Do you know why? 26th of June?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I should know.
We don't know.
Looks like I should know.
Suntonpu. Suntonpu was born on the 26th of June.
The great poet.
The great poet.
Yeah.
So he was born on the same day.
Wow.
So he went here. Well, of course, I'm joking, but it's quite a nice coincidence, isn't it? The greatest Thai poet was born on the 26th of June.
Date.
No, apart from the joke, the reason is that now I do research on climate change, and being a social scientist, I don't explore the causes of climate change, but I explore how the government can respond to the threats of climate change. And Thailand is one of the countries which is most exposed to climate change. The tropical and subtropical areas in general are the most subject. Thailand in particular, and Konkan in particular, is very at risk, especially the agricultural part side of the Konkan, of the province economy. And here I'm doing research with some colleagues on climate change. And I've been here several times. I know Ajahn Kanun and many other professors, and I think this is a wonderful place to teach, to meet students, to meet professors, and to do research.
But I realized that not all professors, like to travel so much. From what I heard, you travel a lot. Where did that come from?
Well, I come from a small village. Agricultural, and nobody probably from there ever went to get a PhD. Well, I'm probably the first one ever who went. But during high school, I went on an exchange program, a lucky one, a short one, in the US, in Boston. So for me, it was the first time to see something extremely different from the small village in the countryside of Italy to the big city, Boston, and so maybe I may not have realized at first, but later on that experiences matter a lot for students, even short ones. That probably left a mark in my mind. So later on I went on to the PhD, and now I have collaborations. I've had everywhere in America, in South America, in Brazil. I was visiting professor in Norway, in France, in Barcelona, Spain, and now I have a new project with a German colleague in New Zealand.
Wow, that's
so really this is life beyond borders.
That's really
and
nice.
Students should learn to live, if they like, of course. You need some predisposition, but still it's a good thing to try to think in this way.
So that internship, a short period of time, is like a seed, in your mind.
I think so.
New test of something really different, right?
I think so.
Okay. What about you, Zankanun? You also has been abroad too, How was your experience? Did you enjoy it? And, what did it give you?
Well, I can talk maybe a little bit just after hearing Ajahn Federico mention about being from a small village. I think for me it feels similar. I was born and raised here in Khon Kaen, and back 30 years ago, it felt like a small village, and we feel like what else is there? There was also always this inner drive, and so I always wanted to go somewhere. And I got lucky when I was a lot younger. At 13, I got a scholarship to go to New Zealand for cultural exchange for 4 weeks, and I didn't know it then, but after going, it kind of broke the seal. As Professor Federico mentioned, it kind of made a mark, and since that trip, I came back and I was completely anxious and eager to do more.
Wow.
I didn't feel right being here anymore.
Okay.
And then of course things started happening, and so I went abroad the year after too. So in terms of the initial drive, I think it was because of the small, humble beginning, wanting to explore more. But I think, what did I get from that? I didn't know what I was getting when I was trying to go abroad traveling, but you would know looking back. So when you look back, you start to question, I used to believe this, I shouldn't have believed that.
Right.
I used to limit myself.
Right.
Maybe it's Thailand culture, maybe it's just, I don't know, but I felt like I was limiting myself.
Yeah, I think Thai culture is more preserved comparing to other. But I think the main thing is perspective. You get different perspective. So moving on, just asking Professor, when you started to travel a lot, especially to different places or Thailand, what hit you? What was the first few things that you get from it in your own experience? Yeah.
Well, in Khon Kaen in particular, it was the dinos. The dinosaurs.
Dinosaur. Okay. You saw the figure,
That was
right?
something. The heritage of the dinos. It's kind of almost a symbol of identity of the people here. They're everywhere. No, but apart from that, I like the Thai culture, and in general of people being very respectful one with each other, and especially here in Khon Kaen, a kind of relaxed way of taking things, not too hectic, and so being able to do your work with your time, and it's very important for me. And then the campus here was very impressive when I first came. In fact, it's my 5th or 6th visit to Khon Kaen.
Wow.
The first time was before the COVID pandemic, so it was probably 2020, just the very beginning of 2020. So the pandemic was about to come out, and then after the first break of the pandemic, I came again several times, and so I now know the Isan culture too. I know Isan food. I know some of the Isan language a little bit, and the working here in the campus is really nice. Yeah.
And language as well. I heard อาจารย์พูดไทยได้นิดหน่อย
พูดได้นิดหน่อยครับ ไม่เก่งเท่าไหร่ครับเก่งนิดหน่อยครับ
Okay. So in terms of personally, traveling a lot to different places, including obviously Thailand, Khon Kaen, not only Khon Kaen, but I'm sure, of course, Bangkok or other places, Phuket or Chiang Mai. Personally, what did it do to you as a person, during this last, 20, 30 years of traveling? I think that insight would give some idea to the young one that have not tried to travel.
Yeah, the Italian culture is very different from the Asian culture in general. So I would first encourage the Italian students, the Western students, the Falang, to come and spend some time studying in Thailand, because in exchanging experiences with the Thai students, they will see a different point of view and a different way of approaching life too, more respectful to the other people, more caring about the profound things that you have in life. And myself too, I was at the beginning, I was even shocked by the way the Thai people behave one with each other compared to, you lived in England, you know Europe, and you know the Falang way of living. The approach to many things is very different.
Can you give me some example of the thing that really shocked you, in terms of personal relationship with friends or colleagues that's different from European?
Well, it's the attitude that students have towards professors. That's very different. I hope it stays like this. It will not change in the future because there are some small signals that globalization, the internet, is leading to some convergence of behavior. I hope this convergence will not be 100%. And also the colleagues are very helpful, and they seem to be really close friends after a short time. You feel part of the family. And also the Thai language makes you feel part of the family. You use these words to say pi, non, and so in Thailand you have this feeling that people are part of a family.
Yes.
And the way they approach each other is the first signal. While in Italy it doesn't exist to call someone a old brother or a small brother. They would think it is really weird. It would be really weird if in England someone would say, "Hey, small brother,
that is
true." That would be so strange.
I think relationship in Europe is more professional a lot of time.
Maybe.
Yeah.
In Italy, we have the formal one, the formal way of speaking to each other, and the informal one. But none of the two would ever resemble the family-like spirit. Would still be different from the big family kind of feeling that you have in some, especially in the countryside of Thailand, in the villages. I've been in Bangkok. I was visiting the Chulalongkorn too. I was in Chiang Mai giving a seminar. I was at Thammasat. I was at the University of the Thai Chamber of Commerce. So I saw several universities. They are very different, but they share this common Thai environment of a big family.
Yes. Okay. So what about you, Ajahn Khanun? Moving obviously from Thailand to study in the US, I'm sure it will be a culture shock too. What did you learn from it?
Several things. I mean, I did study, and I was also teaching for a couple of years. When you mentioned about student attitude, I do have a slightly different perspective, because our students are always late. But in the US, students would wait for professor before class. But of course, the demeanor in terms of interaction, it's more cordial here. It's a little bit more, what's the word? Not friendly, but informal. Relationship between students and faculty in the US. And I don't know if that's a good or bad, or maybe it's just a different way. I mean, because I feel like in the US, when you have when you allow students to be more informal with your professor, they're there to ask questions and actually ask questions, and they're accountable for their questions, not just ask to criticize. So I think there's more of that. What did I learn? There's too many lessons to sum up.
What about personally, in terms of personal development? I mean, I give you two examples. For me, I moved to the UK when I was 11, and it was total culture shock. Relationship with teachers in Thailand. Basically, you are not really allowed to question things. You just follow. The one that asks question a lot tend to be, labeled as more kind of aggressive and and not a good student where you just sit and follow, right? That's one thing. So what I've learned to be more forward thinking and argumentative, outspoken. That's in terms of me. Even when I came back from the UK to be a lecturer, other Thai, born and raised, or even the one that did a master and PhD, they would still see me as a foreign guy that kind of like, oh, you look like Thai, but you're so forward, and sometimes you're so aggressive. What do you think about that?
I totally agree with that. I mean, a statement like, oh, I don't understand. You can say that in English and it's totally harmless.
Yes.
I'm going to ask questions, but in Thai maybe people get taken aback just a little bit when you say, I don't understand what you're saying. It's like, are you challenging me?
Or I don't agree with you. That in class is the crazy thing,
and it raises the stakes. But in the, I think, Western culture, it's more common. Oh, I don't think I agree with you there, And being assertive, totally, that was a big lesson. I mean, maybe it's something unique to my own upbringing, but I don't always. I never say I'm hungry, for example. I just say, yeah, it's okay. I'm okay, right? Everything is always I'm okay. But that's not gonna work when you're out in the real world. I think you have to be assertive. Yeah.
So, in your experience, you taught some Thai students, for a little bit now, and of course you've been all over the world. What do you think Thai student needs to improve or to do, in terms of it's good to go abroad because you're going to get this and you're going to develop in this way or that way, or at least you got to see, and try, in your view?
Well, in my view, the first most important thing is to invest in the English language.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a barrier. I think that some will be afraid because of being ashamed and thinking they are not at the level which is good enough to be abroad. So first, it's not enough to listening or watching the videos and the movies. You need to work hard on the English language so that you will feel confident. And once you feel confident, you raise your hands and you ask a question in class. Because I think that part of the difficulty that sometimes I encountered in having the students speak out and say what is unclear and what they like and what they are not really convinced of is the language barrier. I think is very important. So working hard on English. And second, working hard on all the topics they study. So if you work hard and you know the topic and you feel confident then you will be more willing to take the challenge and go abroad. If you feel confident in economics, in mathematics, in what you're studying, then your confidence, together with the confidence in English, will make you make this jump and go and try. But you have to work hard, and they have to convince themselves that you can only do that. The nice experience, the experience abroad will be fruitful if you are willing to work really hard.
Yes.
So
And
maybe an old-fashioned message, but I think it's necessary.
The foundation is key, I think, definitely. But another thing is, if they get a chance to go abroad, from my experience, obviously being a TA after my PhD, etc., what I saw, foreign student, I wouldn't name what countries anyway, but including Thai too, when they go, because today you can use internet, you can call home very easily, and they tend to stay with each other, and they tend to just still watch Thai media, Lakorn, the series, and it's like going abroad, but not being abroad, So I want some comment from both professor in terms of the culture, immersion into a culture, because my mom, she got a chance to study in the UK. The reason she sent me when I was so young, because she said, if you go when you're older, you tend not to be immersed into, the culture, and you will not learn the culture. And that's what happened with a lot of Thai students that go abroad to study master, PhD. I'll go to professor first. What is your view on that?
I start from my own experience of studying as a student in the UK.
Yep.
I was pretty old, compared to you at least. I was 25 when I went.
Not old.
Not old, but still not 11.
Oh yeah.
And
sure.
at the beginning, the temptation of sticking with the Italian friends.
Yes.
Also because there are occasions when you meet and you watch football, and so there will be frequent, and there are so many Italians in London.
Yes.
So it's not difficult to meet Italians if you like. But after a while, a few experiences outside of the Italian group made me learn and appreciate the British, the UK culture.
Fish and chips.
Fish.
And pubs and bars.
No, I was really talking very well about the Thai culture, but I don't want to talk badly about the English culture.
No. I love fish people. And chips. Yeah.
And the beer. And I learned about beer. So after the experience in the UK. So, and I really liked. I have friends in the UK, and you must really break the national circle. Make the effort and make friends outside of the Thai or Italian or whatever nation, because that really makes you know the local culture. Otherwise, you would still eat pagapao instead of
that's
fish
why
and chips.
When you come to Khon Kaen, you gotta try som tam.
Okay,
right?
I can even cook it myself.
Wow, that's nice. Okay, so Ajahn Khanun, what about you when you went? Did you see any kind of this stigma, and how did you get out of it?
Ajahn San touched on a very interesting point about immersion. And 20 years ago versus now, the immersion now is actually by choice. Because even within the country, you don't even immerse with your own people. You have your own internet community.
That's true.
And nowadays, it's the same thing. When you go abroad, I mean, it can be an advantage or disadvantage. Advantage is that you can choose how much you want to immerse. You want to learn, you want to stop learning, you can just turn off and be talk to your family. But when we went, I mean, I'm sure Ajahn San also, how often did we talk to our family? Just making a phone call, that was like, for us, 2 weeks, that's really good if you can do 2 weeks for one phone call. And nowadays you do FaceTime, you don't even want to talk to them. So it's a really different story. But I mean, if you do go, I mean, for me, I think what really helped me grow was the immersion, was the learning through experience. You try to say something embarrassing to yourself, you're practicing saying stuff. I mean, English is one thing, but the culture, the way you express things is different, the way you interact in society. And you're always going to be embarrassed, but that, I think it helped us, at least helped me, to see kind of the 360 view of an interaction, and we felt like, okay, now we're confident to go into any other context. I'd break away from the shell. You go talk to a cashier, you go talk to a government worker in the US, they're gonna yell at you, oh, you don't speak English, or you don't understand the processes. We going through that, we feel like, okay, I can go anywhere now. My face is thick enough, and having a thick skin is going to open a lot of doors. I think coming back to the main lesson is having thick skin is really really great byproduct of overseas.
That's a really good word, thick skin. But I would explain to Thai student, You know, when you say thick skin, I think it's kind of more confident. You know, where that word in English. You know, but in Thai, if you say thick skin or thick face or หน้าด้าน, that's not right.
Okay.
I think you know that's a sensitivity because in a foreign culture, they, you know, the in terms of the confident, but in Thailand, there's a thin line between being aggressive and confident, because Thai people is very preserved, you know.
Sure.
So I think one of the last point that I want to hear from Ajahn Kanun before from Professor is, I mean, right now you have a lot of students in your hand. You know, what kind of message, based on your own experience, you know, can you convey or influence or persuade your student in taking that leap of faith? Hey, just go. Don't even worry about your English or, you know, and there's plenty of scholarship if you try. What kind of message can you try? Yeah.
Well, I think that's a really good point. How do you even get started? But I think it's the same for opening any doors. It's the same for trying anything that's new that you haven't seen before. Is to not be afraid to make mistakes, be embarrassed, or not be afraid of disappointments. I mean, you'll get disappointments all the time. You know, especially pursuing something that maybe you feel that none of your friends or family have experienced before. Pursuing something new like this, you know, you feel like you're aiming too high, you can get disappointed. That's okay. You have a whole life ahead of you. Get disappointed early on so that you're used to it. You know, and I mean, in life you want 10 things, you can get one thing. You know, and just be used to that, and you get the one thing, and you're okay. So taking that leap, I think it's about not being shy, not being too sensitive about making a mistake. You know, move. I don't want to try to quote Elon Musk here, but he does say something nice about, you know, moving fast and breaking things, because at this age, I think you have plenty of chances to learn. So it's better to take action and make mistakes, get scolded, but, you know, learning from it, facing the disappointment. I think that's a good attitude to approach.
Yeah, I think one of the quote that I really like, I don't exactly remember the quote, but it's like, the worst failure is when you don't try at all. You know, that's worse than any kind of failure, I think. So in your view, Professor, I mean, you have a lot of students from all sort of nationality. What kind of message do you think you can give them, you know, to get to, you know, obviously experience what we have?
Look, in Italy, we have several foreign students.
Yep.
In the UK, there are so many foreign students.
Yes.
So students in Thai should not over-evaluate the Western students. They shouldn't think they are not at the same level. So they should not be afraid of not being at the same level, because first, the Western world is very open, isn't it? It has a lot of problems and difficulties, but it's very open to foreign students. And there are so many that the Thai students should not expect them to be a strange object in a foreign Western university. There will be plenty of students from all over the world in most instances. So there will be a lot of chances to exchange experience from people from all over the world, and not just the Western students. In some places, the Western students are just a minority of the class. So it would be great to exchange experience, and they should not think that the average level of the other students would be higher than theirs. Why should that be the case? So they would just, after investing in their English and their fundamental knowledge, just go and do not evaluate what they would overthink, because they will be there with so many other foreign students, and it will be a fantastic environment to make progress.
Great. Yes. So if any student are interested in asking more questions, you know, we'll leave your contacts in the comments, and Ajahn Kanun too, you know, in KKU too, and anywhere else that obviously listen to this podcast. So for today, you know, grateful to have you here, and you promised that there will be more episodes, you know, talking about economics or politics or different things, I think. But for today, you know, thank you for Professor Federico and Dr. Kanun for being here. All right, thank you very much.
It was fun.
สวัสดีครับ